lost all control. Gravity is all that I know. She's over me. She's over me. She comes me with her hypnotic dance. She holds me here with only a glance. She's over me. She's over me. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Paranormal Portal Night Terrors. I'm your host, Brent Thomas. That's me. I am here to keep you company for the next roughly an hour. Hope you're having a great ending of your weekend. I hope it was a good weekend. I know we had a couple of fantastic shows here on the Paranormal Portal last two nights. Last night, of course, was Kev Baker came into the portal. And it was an epic journey, epic discussion. Kev's just a great guy, and it was a lot of fun to finally have him on the show. I really appreciated him staying up extra late to be a part of it. And it was just a really good, all-around great time. The conversation flew, the time screened by, and the next thing I know, it was time to close it all down. It was crazy, but a good time, and special thanks again to Kev Baker for coming on last night. It was fantastic. I don't know if he's up again. He was up pretty. Is he live right now? Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, he was doing the stream with Joe and Popeye, I think, tonight. So he'll be plenty busy, but it was great to have him on and a great discussion. And of course, we'll be doing something next month with them, Don and I, as well as we will be doing the 5-hour marathon stream in March on Friday the 13th is what we're planning. So mark your calendars, ladies and gentlemen. That's how it rolls here on the portal. But it is Sunday night. I know you're looking at Monday and thinking, oh man, but you're not there yet. You're here. You're still in Sunday, so just be in Sunday and enjoy yourself. Kick back, relax, get a good beverage, turn down the lights, grab a blanket, and I hope to keep you entertained. So great to see everybody. Thank you all again for coming in. The phone lines will be open throughout the course of the show tonight. If you'd like to call in, you certainly are welcome to do so. The number is 720-923-0500. Again, 720-923-0500. If you want to call in and be a part of the show, that'd be fantastic. It's always great to hear from you guys. I just got done earlier, a few hours ago, recording a podcast for tomorrow. It was a great discussion with our guest named Annie. And she's really, she's had some phenomenal experiences, which is really, really cool. But not only that, but just she's got such a wisdom and insight to her that was really a breath of fresh air as well. And everybody I've talked to has been amazing since we've been doing the podcast and doing these listener interviews. It's just been phenomenal. But it was a really fun show today, and that'll be airing tomorrow. So I hope you guys will check that out. Again, it'll be available sometime after midnight, depending on when I can get it up there. Maybe before midnight, I'll actually have it ready to go, but it'll be scheduled for release at midnight on the podcast servers. So I hope you'll check it out. And if you like the podcast, please head over to iTunes, leave us a good review. It'll go a long way in making sure the portal gets recommended to a lot of people that may not yet have heard it. And it'd be great to spread our wings a bit more. But a bunch of you guys are here now. I've kind of talked for a bit. I guess that's all I have right at the front end of tonight's show. But I hope you all are ready because it's time for bed. And hello to you, Contraband. Thanks for coming in today. It's great to see you. And to everybody else that's there, I guess we could go through the laundry list. I haven't done a shout out for a while, but let's do that. Five Hazels here, Amber's here, Aussie Tiger's here, Bell Prepper's here, Cha Cha's here, Contraband, Deb Varner, DJ Big Red, LM, ELLE, as in L. Hetty Lamar is here. Justin Good Earth, Lewis, Kathy Spencer just came in, and yeah, there she is. Let's see. I think people are coming and going. Eddie, I'm here, just came in as well. I just scrolled up. Gemini came in. Good to see you. Where was I? Lewis Mammoth Hunter is here. Maugi on Monsters here. Nessie, I'm here. Rachel Gets It Right. Stacy, Private Eye Paranormal is here, and World Bigfoot Radio, our very own Duke. Great show last night, by the way, Duke. It was a lot of fun. I was listening more than participating, but it was an excellent show, and I still have to go back and watch that full episode because I'm really looking forward to seeing some of the picture evidence that would have accompanied that on your channel. So great shows as always, and if I missed anybody, my deepest apologies. But Chris Jarvis just came in. Blessings for Julie. Good to see you. Lots of new names. I think that's just epic. It's wonderful to see all you new faces. If I missed your name, I do apologize, but just yell at me in the chat or something, and maybe I'll see it. But anyway, we are now officially underway here on the Paranormal Portal, and let's see, what was I going to say? There was something else. The Afterworld. No, Prince song. There's something else. The Afterworld. World of never-ending happiness. You can always see the sun, day or night. All right, so this is the portal, and I guess I will get underway. If you guys want to hear some stories, I have got some stories for you. So let's get into this. The first one tonight is coming from California, which is probably balmy, sunny, and wonderful, whereas the north of Idaho is cold and snowy, and it's beautiful, but it's cold and snowy. So that's about all I can say about that. It's like living in a postcard and freezing your pieces off. All right, so let's go into California and see what's going on. It says, driving into the deserted parking lot, my stomach filled with butterflies. I've always felt energized and excited when I could see the trail leading to the beach. Well, I searched the dark for hidden dangers before parking my car in the usual spot. Once again, the lot was completely empty. I opened the car door and climbed out, and the sea breeze filled my senses, and I found myself just smiling. The fall weather was bringing a chill to the air, but I was dressed for the cold. Bending down, I tested my laces, and they felt nice and tight, so I turned my attention on the path in front of me. It felt good to start the incline, and I never tired of the view at the top, and I was walking at a fast pace when it happened, and it was like an assault to my belly. My feet almost went out from under me. I felt like a crumpled piece of aluminum that had been tossed by the wayside. It hurt. Not physical. It was emotional, a desperate act of a crying soul. He reached out in the dark and dragged me to my knees. I didn't know who he was, but it scared me to the core. My mind was absolutely racing, but I was terrified to move. I stayed where I was on the cold path and waited for answers. This wasn't the first time that this had happened to me, and it wouldn't be the last. Time always feels like it has stopped, but I could hear the tick of my wristwatch, and the simple sound alerted me to stay aware of all the sounds engulfing me. I could hear the far-off horn of a coming train, and the surf sounded like crashing bottles of glass in my ears, and I started to shake. Wrapping my arms around me, I stood, and it was hard to catch my breath. I could see the plumes of steam from expelled air into the night cold. This person's a good author. It was desperately cold now, and I finally caved to the emotions pushing its way inside of me. I sucked in a deep breath, and I felt him draw close. I could hear him growling with the sounds of relief. His voice was coarse with age, and his face was but a few inches away. I stared into the foggy eyes of someone who had stayed drunk far too often in life. Where'd my mouse go? There it is. He said, "Find my body. Don't let me rot over there." And he pointed to just over the ridge somewhere in the vicinity of the bordering fence. The fence separated the train tracks from the trail leading to the beach. I tried to understand. I wanted to study the area he expected me to go, but I needed to know more. It was a big area he had pointed to. I looked back to him, and I needed some answers, but he was already fading away. "Wait," I cried out, but he couldn't. I struggled to see him, and I would be on my own in less than a minute, and I stared into his eyes as he faded into oblivion. The look in his eyes still haunts me to this day. I could read the regret, the deep sorrow of a life spent in wasted moments, and I watched until he was gone, and then it was time to get moving. I could have turned away and headed back to my car, but I just couldn't do it. Not once, not ever, have I turned away from a ghostly request for help. Staring into the dark, I moved off the path and headed into the brush lining the path, and I searched along the fence, but I couldn't see anything that remotely looked like a body. As I was about to give up, I smelled it, and there is no mistaking the smell. The smell of death crawls over you with an odor that permeates your living flesh. As I followed the smell, I placed a hand over my nose. The strong stench communicated he had been there for a while. The closer I got, I started to see what had happened to him. I saw him as he struggled on the train tracks a while, and the closer I got, I started to see more. But the cheap booze flowed through his veins didn't allow him to move fast enough, and I watched in horror as the train hit him. I won't describe what I saw next, but it was horrific, and I felt my stomach lurching at the colors flashing before my eyes. He didn't feel a thing, thank goodness. Pulling out my cell phone, I dialed the local authorities and I spoke to them. I heard a whisper in my ear. "Thank you." That's a cool story. Is it real? I don't know. I mean, it could be. It could be. This person obviously has a gift for the written word, and it kind of hits me like an author, which I got to be careful how I say this, because just because somebody can communicate well written, it doesn't mean that they're any less sincere, but it does kind of strike me as, there's somebody with some creative writing going on right there. And it could be, but it could also be very legitimate. And this person is just very, very, very literate and, excuse me, and is able to relay that through the story. And that's wonderful if that's the case. It's very, very well narrated though. Wow. Could it be real? Yeah. I don't know. I often wonder, what do psychics feel when they get that overwhelming sense of a spirit, and the spirit is just desperate for help? And maybe it is just like that. Maybe it is like getting punched in an emotional way, and dealing with all of that anguish and sorrow and sadness, and maybe that's just what it is. I don't know. But you got to wonder, what was that guy doing out there? What was he doing? Just sitting on the beach drinking? And then you got to wonder, well, that's not much of a life. But anyway, that's the first story. And again, I can't speak to its authenticity. However, it is represented as a true story. So take it or leave it, but it was beautifully written. That's for sure. Here's one from Iowa. It says, it was about a year ago, a year and a half maybe, and the time was about 10:30 p.m. I remember I was in my room watching television when I realized the time. I decided to go brush my teeth, and I got up and left the room, and where I entered my dark and quiet hallway, I was and still am afraid of the dark. But I remained calm and walked to the switch and turned it on, and as soon as I got into the bathroom, I started to brush my teeth. As I was doing so, I saw something out of the corner of my eye, and I shrugged it off just my sister. But then I looked out again, and what made me look again? Well, my sister wasn't even home. For a brief second, I saw a girl no more than my height, maybe 5 foot 5 inches tall, with long black hair, wearing what seemed to be a nightgown. And then she was gone. I never got the chance to see her face, but I know what I saw. And to this day, I tried to talk to her. I named her Rose, told my mom this, and she said she didn't know anyone that died here. And then again, the house is over 100 years old, and I've tried a countless number of times to contact her, to see her. And I wonder what it is that's making her stay here. Now, whenever I walk down that dark hallway, I always remember I'm not alone. They're always there, ladies and gentlemen. One of the nice things about Annie from the call today is that she and several people that she knows have dedicated themselves in many ways to going to different places and trying to cross spirits over. And I think that that's really, really cool. I know Deb does that a bunch, and I'm sure Dee does, as well as Sean and Joel and anyone else that we've had on the show that's a psychic, because it always comes up in my conversations with these people that I feel it's such an important thing. But I was really thrilled to hear that Annie, who's on the show, which will be released tonight, has been doing that for years. And I think what a beautiful thing, because I think about people that might be stuck in that limbo state and they're not really sure what the hell's going on. They've ended up in this situation. They don't really, maybe in many cases, understand how they got there. Like, that you think about your own life, and if you ever driven your car to work and realized you weren't even conscious of that drive. Well, what if during that drive was one of your last moments, and you may not even be conscious that you passed, because it's just one of those things you do all the time. And then during that thing you do all the time, something happens and you're kind of like, why doesn't anybody talk to me anymore? What's going on? I don't get it. So I was really pleased to hear that she's been doing crossings. And again, you can hear more about that if you listen to tomorrow's podcast. So very cool. Let's get to the next one. And this one's coming from Maryland. And the exact date of the story is July 7th, 2004. I was at my mom's house in Aberdeen, Maryland, and it was summer, and I was about 18 at the time, at home after my freshman year at college in New Orleans, and I should have stayed in New Orleans and lived in my apartment, but no, I decided coming home and working for my father for a few months would actually serve me best. Stupid decision. But anyway, that morning I got into a bit of an argument with a girl that I was interested in, and I was feeling really low and angry right off the bat. And on top of that, I ventured down to Baltimore City to attend the funeral viewing of one of my friend's fathers. I'd been to several funerals, no big deal. I hung around with some of my friends afterwards at a house in Ellicott City before I made the eventual drive back to Aberdeen at around midnight. Now, at this time, I'd lived at my mom's house since 2002, which is 2 years. After my parents separated, nothing strange had ever happened, and I heard little things about how the previous owners were old and who had died, but nothing really too frightening. I'd seen ghosts previous to this story. I didn't like them, but I never got the feeling my mom's house had any activity going on, let alone in my own bedroom. I came home and went to bed at around 1 a.m. that evening, and I guess it was a terrible day, but nothing I got to change the words because it's almost a cuss word. Close, but not quite, but too close for my liking. So it was a terrible day, but nothing I hadn't been through before. So as I'm lying there trying to fall asleep, I start to hear my bedroom door creak open. And this has happened before, and I just ignored it. And then it keeps creaking and creaking and creaking. And now I'm lying on top of the blankets, feeling the ceiling fan blow on my legs as it occurs to me, man, that creaking is not stopping. And just then I stop feeling the wind from the ceiling fan on my leg. Then that thought crosses my mind. That feels weird. And just then, A jolt of bad feeling shoots up my back, and I instantly pull my blankets over my head. I guess that's where the term spine tingling came from. It was a horrible feeling of shock, fright, nervousness that hit me in the spine stomach area all at once. So into that 2 to 3 second time span, I'm under the covers and I think, man, if I take these covers off, I'm going to see something. But at the same time, I really want to get out of my room right now. So I threw my blanket off, and sure enough, the bedroom door was halfway open, and the head and shoulders of a figure was gliding across my bedroom. Now, it's a small room, and I was in my bed, and the thing was probably 3 to 4 feet away in the space between my bed and the desk. I couldn't tell if it was a man or a lady, and it was just a very vague gray-purple misty outline of a head and shoulders moving through my room. I screamed at the top of my lungs and ran right out the door, down the stairs, and into the den where my brother was still awake and on the phone. I saw it, I saw it, I saw it. And he, of course, ignored my rantings. It completely ruined the night, and I couldn't fall back to sleep. And went to work the next day with the rest, and ever since then I've slept on the couch in the den. I rarely ever go upstairs. Remember that I have a whole bedroom upstairs, and it's been over 4 years since I've actually slept in it. Case in point, Christmas Eve of that year, I was home while everyone else was gone to the midnight mass, and I was upstairs brushing my teeth. I didn't want to be there, so when I was done, I hurried down the hallway to the stairwell, and before I got that far, all the hallway lights flickered on by themselves. I spent the rest of that evening sitting in the car, not going back into the house until somebody else came home. Rest assured, when that thing came into my room, it was the most frightening experience of my life. Hands down, words cannot explain, and there's nothing spiritual about it. I don't care what spirits are in my parents' house and why they would be there. Whenever I visit, I sleep on the couch. Yeah, that'll change your whole mood. We got a call, though. Let's get to this call and see what's going on. And this is area code 210. You're on the air. Hey. Outstanding. Hello. So you guys are on the... Hello. Hey.
Hello?
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, is this Brent?
It is. It sure is.
Hey, this is DJ Big Red. How's it going, man?
Good, brother. How's things?
Oh man, just kicking back with the friends, man. My little brother, hip hop, Greg. Hip hop consciousness.
Oh, cool.
How's everyone doing tonight, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good, brother. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah.
What's on your mind tonight?
Cool. Yeah, I just figured out, I thought I'd call in something tonight's a night to explore on the possibilities, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Last night, we had an experience, coming back home, on our street, and it was really effing weird, you know what I mean?
Yeah?
What I saw, and, I'm going to get into it, and also, to start this out, about, let's say, down my highway, about, 3 or 4 exits, there's a facility where they test monkeys and baboons and all types of animals and stuff.
Okay.
And biofuels and all that.
Uh-huh.
And basically what we saw last night, it was really weird, but I didn't see him jump. I was typing in the chat that I saw. I see people see San Antonio, Texas. Yeah, San Antonio. Yes, 2-0. But what I saw last night, I didn't see it jump out of my friend's truck, like I was saying in the chat.
Uh-huh.
But I did see it run across the car. But what I saw was it didn't look like a cat. It didn't look like a dog. It didn't look like anything like that. My dad was trying to convince us, it might have been a baboon, because when I was a kid, they got loose at the same place, and they're chasing us through the woods, through the alleyways and stuff like that.
Wow.
But when we turn on our street, my street, and it's Texas, it's country and then city at the same, in between, everywhere. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So these things can go anywhere. But what we saw was basically my buddy that was driving saw the thing jump out of the truck, and this thing like jumped across the street, like not like a cat, you know, like a cat would jump in the middle of the street and then run in like the grass or something. But this thing jumped all the way across the street into the neighbor's yard from my like driveway, and they ran across the street like in front of us. And this thing had like the tail was like maybe like 3 inches, like 4 inches maybe.
Okay.
Like 2 inches. Yeah, it was like 2 inches, and it had like brown dots and like grayish, like black scraggly hair. And I didn't see the head or anything. My buddy that was driving right here, he can talk. He can tell you what he saw. But that's what I saw. But he's right here if you want to talk to him.
Sure, I'd love to hear.
If y'all, everyone want to hear about it.
Yeah, by all
he's
means.
right here. I mean,
cool.
Yeah. Hold on one second. It's my buddy right here, man. Hold on one sec.
Hey, how's it going? Just to start this off, I prefer to remain anonymous, but
sure, no worries.
So about 4 nights ago, I was leaving a friend's house or leaving Big Red's house. A friend's truck was parked in front of my vehicle. Started my car up, let it warm up for a second, turned on the lights, and then this creature looked kind of like a cat or dog, like a terrier size, probably.
Like the old dog that passed.
Yeah, kind of like that old dog that passed away. But it jumped out of this truck like not like an animal would. You know what I mean? Like 13-foot lunge in the air, like with no run, no jumping stock.
Wow.
Yeah, it kind of like it didn't really. It reminded me of like robotics. You know what I mean? Not like a demon, spirit, an entity, something in, you know.
Right.
So I don't know, man. I'm not sure if anybody else has had any sightings of stuff like that across the country.
Yeah, I'd be really curious to hear. Now, I do know there's some places around the nation that talk about a smaller monkey or ape-like cryptid that's not Bigfoot. And I forget what the hell they call it, apple snitch. Some place calls them something like an apple snitch. And there's another name, but they're apparently out there. But you guys have the feeling that this is from that testing facility, perhaps, or do you think it's something else?
Oh, I personally have not 100% convinced, but I like mess around with RC cars and drones and other kinds of like robotic things and stuff like that, and it really, the way it moved, motion, stuff like that, the way it jumped straight up in the air, it didn't look natural. It looked more like something mechanical or man-made.
Right.
I don't know, AI, computers are talking to each other, making their own languages nowadays with what's possible, right?
Okay.
But
well,
that's my comment on the whole thing. I appreciate you allowing me to have some time to speak. Thank you.
Absolutely, brother. So, are you there?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, he's still here. We're on speaker. We're both on speaker, man.
Okay.
Keep talking.
Another. Yeah, this is L in the chat room came up with the name. Okay. I was trying to think, and it's called an Albatawitch or Albatwitch. No.
Pardon me?
An ALBAT and then WITCH. It's Albatwitch, and that is a small
Albatwitch.
Yeah, that is a small like a monkey or ape like cryptid that's been reported. It's reported a lot around the East Coast though, so that's kind of interesting to hear.
Do they know that that's native to possibly? Or?
Well, it's believed to be. I mean, it's believed to be some kind of native species that's over there. But I can't say I've ever heard of them in Texas before. But I think that's pretty incredible.
Right.
Yeah. It doesn't surprise me though at the same time though, because if they're one place, they could certainly be more than that. But that's really powerful, man.
Yeah, and there's been like a lot of powerful things, or not really powerful, tragic things going on all around the world that aren't being talked about or vocalized, you know.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, like we had 4 full moons here in a row, like quite literally, and all the activity, yeah, the energy, the ether, you know,
Sure.
it's all like just bad juju around here recently. But
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I hope the human condition gets better. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
But I appreciate what you're doing with this, and I'm gonna pass the phone back to Red. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Hey man, how's it going, Brent?
Good.
But yeah, man, like Toby was saying, man, it could have been like a robot type thing.
Mm-hmm.
But what my dad was saying, it could have been like an escape, like baboon, monkey, like they have like 4 different types of like different types of apes, monkeys, and all that. You know what I mean?
Sure. Sure.
You know, and it could be like you're saying, like the not Sasquatch, but like the smaller kind.
Yeah.
It could be that, because what I saw, it did not seem like a monkey. It did not seem like a cat. It did not seem like a dog.
Okay.
It seemed like it was something that was like running like super fast. You know, I didn't even see its head.
Mm-hmm.
It ran so fast. You know, and it, like right in front of the car, I didn't even see its head.
Wow.
You know, and Greg was in hip hop, Truth Hip Hop, right here. My little brother, he's telling me he was in the back seat. He didn't even see anything. He said he was so fast, he didn't see anything. He always saw was a blur.
That's
and
intense.
it's so crazy. It's like I had to call in just to let y'all know about this. I mean, tonight's show is Night Terror to explore the possibilities. I mean, come on. I mean, anything's possible. You know what I mean, right?
Yep, you're absolutely right, man. That's all kinds of intense. But yeah, be careful, guys. I don't know. You know, look for tracks too if you can. See if you can find any physical tracks.
Yeah, and then. I'm sorry for cutting you, but yeah, definitely. We're gonna go out and look and everything, because what we think is, because in our neighborhood we have like we have like woods, but it's like a ditch that goes into like the woods, and there's like a little tiny river. Ooh. And that's how I think they're living off of. They're living off the water stream, and they're living off of like people's like fruit trees in the neighborhood.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
you know, and ditches with trash and like. There's food and everything like that.
Do people's trash get ripped apart a lot?
I mean, like when it rains hard, I mean, the trash goes down to the ditch and it all drops down in the ditch. So, I mean, and I mean, recently it's been raining a lot. That's what I'm thinking. That might be why they're coming around. You know what I mean? They might be coming out to look for stuff, you know, just because they're hungry and they sense it or smell it or whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But what really tripped me out was when my dad told me, my pops, you know, he's 67, man. And when he was a kid, he told me that he's like 12, 13. Mm-hmm. Like way back. We live in the same house. Like when he was living here, when he was 12 years old, 13 years old. And he was saying he was riding down the ditch. You know, we have the ditch in our neighborhood. It goes down through like 4 or 5 neighborhoods, like through like almost the whole city. Let's say, like pretty much the whole city, like half of the like north side of the city.
Wow!
And they were riding their bikes, and they thought it was just like dogs chasing them. But the next day, my dad told me that it was all over the news that baboons got, you know, they escaped the research facility they're at, where they do testings and all that on the primates and all that.
Right. Yeah.
And you know, I'm thinking maybe they got out and, you know, maybe they bred with some other animal, and who knows if they can do that? I mean, who knows? I don't know.
Right.
You know, I mean, like you said, it could be the not the Bigfoot, but the small one.
Yeah,
it could be that, because look, I mean, we had a cat that went missing. We have no clue where it went.
Wow.
And every time he would come back, like when he was here, he would come back with like beat up. You know, his whole body was scratched. You know, Paul's messed up. You know, face scratched up, everything messed up, like he was in his, like, fighting for his life, you know. I mean, it could be anything. I mean, it could be the neighborhood cats, but, I mean, it could be anything, man. Like you were saying, like, the smaller Sasquatch type thing.
Yeah.
That's, you know,
Yeah, that's
I mean, but it's pretty ridiculous, man. But I mean, I just thought I'd call in and let y'all know, and let everybody know on the chat, and everybody listening in.
thanks, brother. I appreciate that.
I thought that was pretty. I thought it was pretty crazy, hearing about that. And then it didn't look like a cat or a dog.
Wow.
That's so. I mean, it was last night. And I felt like I had to call him.
Let me know if you
And 3 nights ago, my buddy telling you about when he turned his car on and everything with the lights and sitting there letting his car warm up.
Yeah. Yep.
It jumped that far, crazy. I mean,
yeah, if you
that'd be shit. Excuse me, man. Who knows, man? But
if you get a chance,
I guess
check for tracks.
Excuse me.
Check for tracks.
Yeah. Oh man, that's true. Oh yeah, definitely. We're gonna I'm gonna go outside right now, because he was in my buddy's truck, and he parks on the side of the driveway where the mud is. And it's been raining recently.
Oh, good. Yeah.
So there probably is tracks.
Yeah. If you get some, take some photos.
We're gonna go out there definitely and look.
Okay. If you find one, put something down like a $1 bill or something.
Oh yeah, we're gonna take. Oh, me and Hip Hop Greg, Hip Hop Troop, man. We're gonna take pictures of that and post it and everything.
All right, brother.
It's really weird. It's really weird. I mean, I just felt I had to call and let everybody know. It's just weird South Texas stuff. Who knows what they're doing here?
Yeah, it's hard.
Or who knows what's here?
Just be careful.
I mean, we already have Bigfoot sightings. Recently, like Bigfoot, like homeless people calling in and camping out in the woods in San Antonio, Texas.
Yeah.
They've been calling in about Bigfoots.
Wow.
And taking off like deers and stuff, running off with full dead deers.
Jeez.
With this, and they say they had that stench. That like garbage stench, like the Sasquatches have.
Yep.
And people are saying that all that, and you go around town, you ask the homeless people, what about the Sasquatches? What about the Bigfoots? And they freak out. You ask them about it, and they freak out.
Yeah.
Because they're living in the woods, in tents.
That's
it's creepy.
It is.
This is South Texas, man. There's a city, and then there's country.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's really weird. I mean, but yeah, I'm talking a lot and everything, but
it's all right.
Everyone's listening. Everyone's hearing the knowledge. I'm just saying what it is. I'm just letting you know. I mean, I know I'm a little buzzed, talking a little bit, but
it's all right. Check for tracks.
I figure I should let you go and let your show keep going. If anybody else wants to call in, everybody else should call in.
All right, brother.
Or if there's any more stories, man,
Absolutely. Well, thanks for sharing, and keep us posted, okay?
Yeah, for sure, definitely, yeah. And we're gonna go look at it and see if there's tracks and any footprints or anything like that, and let you know for sure, man.
All right,
for
man.
sure.
That sounds great. We'll talk to you soon then.
All right, man. You have a good night, man. I'll still be listening, man. And you have a good one, man. And peace out to everybody out there listening. And y'all have a good one. I'll talk to you later, man.
Take care. Thanks for calling. All right, that's pretty wild. Brand new, fresh sighting, ladies and gentlemen, of some kind of small ape-looking thing. That's creepy. I don't know. What is possible? Well, everything's possible. It's all possible. Everything you can think of is possible. But yeah, I don't know. That'd be interesting to see if they can find any tracks or anything. Especially if there's mud and such, they should be able to. If it's a physical being. If it's something else, then that's a whole nother wheelhouse right there, ladies and gentlemen. But let's continue on our journey here. This one sounds interesting. Let me look at the clock and see where we're at, because time flies here on the portal, and I never quite know where we're at. But no, we're good. We got about 15 minutes left. All right. Let's take a look and see what's going on here. And this is from California. I sat straight up in bed, hands clutching the patchwork quilt. The translucent apparition from my spent dream danced in the air a foot or so away from my nose. No, the figure of my mother's ghost has changed in the pale amber illumination from my nightlights, become smaller than before. Soon only a shrouded, drawn face the size of my fist remained. "Are you all right?" my husband asked. He had awakened too. And I reached out in front of me and passed my fingers through the face, now more akin to a puckered, transparent skull. A tightness gripped my stomach, and this didn't look like my mother. She wasn't there after all. How sad. Mom had passed away years ago, and I missed the laughing with her and chatting over coffee and singing Inky Dinky Spider while tickling her arm. Yet, why was I seeing things? "I'm hallucinating," I said to David. "Do you mean dreaming?" David's shadowy face bore a puzzled expression, accentuated by his wrinkled jowls. I wonder if this is the same author that sent the other one. Could be, but very talented writer. The shrouded skull sprouted legs and transformed into a spider, like some special effect in a video game, not one of those hairy monstrosities I'd seen after taking prescription painkillers, drinking too much wine, or eating portobello mushrooms, activities I tried to avoid. This arachnid appeared delicate and shimmered, almost as though constructed from blown glass. Its crystalline appendages oscillated, ought to have shattered from such movement. I rose from bed and took careful steps across throw rugs towards the bathroom. The sparkling, wriggling creature did not accompany me, and a flip of a light switch bathed cream-colored walls, tiles, and fixtures in brightness and reality. Several minutes later, I returned to bed. A colony of glimmering spiders suspended on invisible threads greeted me, and I'd served sautéed cremini mushrooms at dinner, baby portobellos, the variety of young shroom that hadn't bothered me before. But how strange. David and I talked for a while. I finally rested my head on the foam pillow, encased myself in electric warmth, and lowered my eyelids. Inky Dinky Spider. When in college, I'd called Mom on the phone in the middle of the night to ask her how to spell a particular word. Maybe she'd finally gotten even. No, Mom used to squash black widows on sight. She might have considered changing into a coffee cup, but never into a spider. For tonight's visual manifestations, mushrooms would have to take the blame. The above story details my experience and thoughts earlier this month. Do you vote for Mom or the mushrooms? Please leave comments here. I don't know. That's very wild. But excellent writing. Very good writing. All right, now this one has to do with Ouija boards. And again, a topic that comes up all the time in hauntings and spiritual situations. What is it with the Ouija board? What is it? Well, it's a blind channel. You're channeling something, you don't know what the hell it is, and you're giving it the green light. If anyone is here that'd like to speak, please let me know. Move to yes. And you're giving it a green light to work through you. And I just think that is an incredibly risky proposition if you haven't prepped and if you haven't set your stage prior to this kind of communication. Definitely not a board game. That's just a nutshell of my opinion on Ouija boards. I'm not like anti-Ouija board like a lot of people are. They're just, those are evil. I don't think they are intrinsically, but I think they get misused so much that they are exploited quite a bit by possibly nefarious entities. But let's see what's going on with Ouija boards in the state of Texas, where this story comes from. I was 15 years old when this happened, and this is one experience I'd really rather forget. It was September, a Saturday night, and I don't remember the date. My friend Paula and I were sitting around the house talking about things, mostly why I couldn't meet her best friend Samantha, later to be my first wife, and that's another story. Her parents were gone for the weekend, and her younger sister was next door for a birthday sleepover at the neighbor's house. I'm sorry, I just kind of half burped. I apologize. I just ate just a while before the show, but I guess it's still making me pay. My apologies. I don't mean to be a pig on my own show. About 9 p.m., her sister and the neighbor and the other two sleepover attendees came over with one of the gifts. It was a Ouija board, Parker Brothers all the way. And they wanted to use it, and they knew Paula and I were into the occult. I'd been a solo practitioner for 3 years, and Paula and her sister were raised Wiccan in a Wiccan household. They wanted Paula to teach them how to use the board because Paula was able to use a spirit board that had been made by her grandmother. It was a maple board with a hickory planchette pointer. The girls insisted that the new game be used, so Paula and I, her sister, and the birthday girl sat down around the card table, and Paula explained what was going to be done. It worked, and how it worked, how to open and close the board. I asked everyone think happy thoughts as we attempted to contact the spirit. Happy thoughts. At first there was nothing. I guess it was about 45 minutes, and then we got a response. The spirit said it was male and answered a few questions that only the birthday girl would know the answers to. It was her party after all, and the spirit became agitated. And when asked why, it spelled out one word, SHADOW. For 10 minutes, that's all we could get from the board. And then it went dead. I mean, you could just feel the spirit had left. So Paula closed the board, and we all got up and were talking about what we had just experienced. And I had to go to the bathroom, so I went to exit the room. And as I was about to walk into the hallway, I stopped, and I didn't like the way the hall felt. Didn't matter. I had to pee. I wasn't going into the hall. No way, no how. I turned back into the room and remembered Paula asking me, "Are you?" And that was as far as she got. I was attacked by something. Something not physical, but this thing grabbed my mind. I dropped to one knee, and Paula rushed over and grabbed my hands as I fought for control. Paula added her strength to mine, helping me to fight whatever this thing was, but it was growing stronger. Paula asked if any of the other girls knew the Lord's Prayer, and none of them could say it. And she had her sister grab the family Bible from the next room. They found the prayer, and Paula's sister and the birthday girl began to say it aloud. It got worse. I'm not sure how Paula and I ended up back at the table, sitting across from each other, still holding hands, but then suddenly it was gone. Just gone. No more fighting for control, no more pressure inside my head. Whatever it had been was gone. It was 1 minute past midnight, Sunday morning. It was then that it struck me. Paula had asked the girls to say the Lord's Prayer. She was not the one to do that. Quite the opposite, in fact. Paula was, I'll just say, very dark. This was to my light. And that's why we always felt we worked so good together. Paula never quite told me why she had done that. She asked the girls for the Lord's Prayer, and I never pressed her for it. That was 26 years ago. Paula and I have lost contact with each other, but we both were sure that whatever attacked me had been attracted to the open link from the Ouija board, and that is the reason it had gotten through. There were no wards, no protective built into the game board, just because it was just that, a mass-produced game board. I've never used a Parker Brothers Ouija board since then, and I never will. I feel they invite trouble by offering a very open way to communicate with the other side to people who have no idea what they're doing. And even those who do know have a problem because the opening is not tuned, warded, or guarded. Basically, no precautions in place. And that's kind of what I'm talking about when I mention setting the stage for a Ouija board session, is that you've got to tune your environment. You've got to create a filter of sorts to keep the ugly crap out. That's what it seems to me anyway. I mean, I believe that that's important. You can believe whatever you want, of course. There's no law that says I have to be right, but I think whenever you're engaging spirits, you should have criteria. You should have protection. You should have an opening and a closing kind of prayer, or some form of exercise that should keep the negative away. A lot of people don't. They just think that you pick up the board, you put your hands on it, you maybe light a candle or two, and sit around and tell jokes and see what weird can happen. And 99.9% of the time, probably nothing will happen. But in that one odd chance that something does come together, you got to be ready for it. You just don't know, and it's a blind channel. You're not directing these calls to anyone specifically, and even if you are you really? Are you sure? So I think that anybody who's a spiritualist and a professional or semi-professional type of pursuit, they know that there's a routine that they have to observe, just for their own safety and for the safety of those people they're trying to work with. So just be careful if you play with a Ouija board. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not telling you to stay away from them. I'm not telling you to use them. But if you're going to use anything with the paranormal, if you're playing with the spirit world, you got to be ready. Because on the event that something does happen, what are you going to do? Most people don't know. And that is the liability. So we got one more story here for you tonight, and this one's coming from North Carolina. This is an account from when I was roughly 14 or 15. My mom was driving me to an evening youth group Bible study at our church's youth house. On our way to my youth group, we were stopped at a stoplight when out of nowhere the loudest screeching of tires I had ever heard shattered the silence. We instantly looked to our left just in time to see a car hit a V-shaped medium, go airborne, and slam into a telephone pole and utility box. Being as I'm the type of person in a fight or flight situation, I fight. I'd been a lifeguard for 2 years and at that point, so I figured I may be able to help if there's something life-threatening going wrong. I opened the door and bolted across the big intersection to see if I could help anyone that was in the car, and all the while, my mom is yelling at me, and she pulled me in the grass and eventually she pulled off into the grass and eventually caught up with me. And it turned out the victim was a male, probably in his mid-30s. And I was the first to arrive at this man's car, and he was unconscious, but was breathing. I reached in and turned his engine off. I didn't want to move him, not knowing if there was a spinal injury and since there was no sign of any further risk of injury, we waited for the EMS. He was really in bad shape. Both ankles appeared to be broken, and he was breathing, but it was really labored. Now, to this day, I can't explain what I saw, but my mom and I held on to his hand and arm and prayed for his man. And while doing so, I opened my eyes and looked at him, and when I did, I saw a milky colored smoke pouring and rising out from his face and upward towards the sky. It was not smoke from like a cigarette or anything. The best I can describe is a pure milky white smoke being pulled out from him. I asked my mom if she saw it, and she's always said no, that she did not. I wonder if it was his spirit leaving temporarily so that he would not feel the pain or shock. We tried calling the hospital the next day, but could not find out if he had passed away or not. I feel in my heart that he did not pass away. I wish I knew, and I went on to the youth group after, but the whole incident shook me to the very core. Life is precious and too short. I'm getting emotional right now trying to type this. Anyway, thanks for reading my story. Thank you, and take care. Peace and love to you all. Yeah, wow. Being able to see a spirit transition, if that is indeed what they saw, and it's hard to know. I mean, could it be some kind of possession where the spirit was causing the wreck? And that is always a possibility. I don't know. At least it's worth consideration. You don't know. Some of these other kinds of entities, and I'm not saying that they weren't human, but there are some negative entities out there, and especially people that have been taken early. I think they're jealous that they don't like that their life ended early, and they feel like they had a lot of living to do, and they may choose to lash out at the living. Like that's their way of coping with it, is to lash out at the living. So could you, become oppressed or possessed and have a spirit temporarily take you over and smash your car? Well, maybe. I don't know. It'd be interesting to hear if there was substances involved or what could have led to this guy just slamming his car into a median. But what a horrible situation. Absolutely horrible. But, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap up our journey for tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I, of course, always enjoy bringing you the portals. I'm pretty wiped out today, though. I literally got 3 hours of sleep last night, so I'm really running on fumes. But I hope you all are doing wonderful. Thank you all so much again for being here and being a part of the portal. Thank you to all of you who've spread the word to other people who love the paranormal. It really goes a long way in helping us to spread the word and to grow and to expand all that is the paranormal portal. So I hope you guys are doing wonderful. Thank you, Taco. Awesome, brother. I appreciate it. That is very, very kind. Keep it up. You know I will, brother. Every night we'll keep keeping it up. And again, watch for the new podcast tomorrow. If you're not already subscribed, please do so. Please subscribe and like the streams if you would. Please share them on your social media if you want to introduce people to the portal that way. Whatever you do, it's just everything helps a bunch. And it really means the world that all you guys are doing so much to make more and more people aware of the paranormal portal. So that's going to wrap it up for me. Again, I'll be back tomorrow night with more of the Night Terrors. So you all have a wonderful night. Take care. Be good. Be kind. Be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day. And remember to laugh as much as you can. I love you all. And have a wonderful Monday. Send it out. It's going to be an amazing day. And maybe it will be. But love you all. Have a good night and sweet dreams.